We're showing us live. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be. It is a lovely time to be alive right now. And are we? Where are we now? Come on, show us live. Show us live. Yeah, we are. There we are. There we are. There we are. I bet someone's beaten to the room before I've got to the chat. No, I haven't. I'm first in the room. Okay, as you can see, we are in American Truck Simulator today for what is going to be a run down to California. There have been some really interesting things going on with the United States, particularly. Hello, Supertramp. Yeah, oh, you're in respite. Good, good, good. I hope you're doing well. I'm absolutely. I'm doing okay. My cats are downstairs. The weather is. Could be bad, I suppose. Next week, I've really got to get off my fat ass and go to the Hobby Goblin hobby store to sort some stuff out. I was supposed to be going there today, but I didn't get up till late. Right. Here is what we're in today. We're in the T680. We're in Bellingham. And we're going down to Los Angeles. And that is what we've got. We've got a container trailer today. We've got Hannah with us. We haven't got Oscar the cat because the nose on the dashboard, he sticks his paws to the windscreen. Oh dear. Wow, the crap day yesterday. So we'll head out of here. Yeah, the President of the United States wants to buy Greenland or take Greenland over by military force. Because he's afraid of the China ships and the Russia ships. Which aren't actually in Greenlandic waters. We need Greenland for national defence. Fucking hellfire. Over an hour. Jeez. And the trouble is, he says that Denmark can't protect Greenland. Only America can do it. Well, that's good. That's good, as long as he had a better day afterwards. And this has stirred things up quite a lot. And he signed July. He did actually sign a trade deal with the European Union, and now he's ripped that trade deal up and shit on the EU. Yeah, he's a former real estate guy. And his dementia is taking him back to his real estate days, and he's not thinking things through. Whether that's because he's got so much fucking money or it's dementia, I don't know. Let's take ourselves up to about 50. There we go. I've got the bypass, so that's a good sign. And it's turning people away. Hang on. Yeah, I think I would as well. And because of that, he's now getting all upset because America is losing influence in the world. Well, what? Canada has just signed a deal with China for EVs. Pretty much open trade with canola going one way, EVs going the other way, tariff and quota free. China is taking over the world. And they're doing it without firing a single shot. Their influence is so great. People are turning where they would turn now, well, before, to the United States as a trustworthy military partner, as a trustworthy trade partner. They are now turning to China. Yeah. Yep. And he's on about he claims to be friends with Vladimir Putin as well, does Mr. Orange. Vladimir Putin is a former KGB guy. He's a former, I don't think he was a head, but he was a high-ranking official in the KGB. The KGB, if you remember your history, was the military intelligence and civilian intelligence department of the Russian government. Oh yeah, it doesn't need to be in a state hospital. It needs to be in a fucking nursing home. Yeah. And you don't get to be a high-ranking officer in the country's security agency by being a dumbass. He is using Donald to get what he wants out of him. And when the time is right, he will bite. You know, so Vladimir Putin says he's not going to strike Ukraine, he's not going to strike Ukraine. We've got a deal, we've got a peace deal. 24 hours later, more missiles, more drones go into Ukraine and bomb Kyiv. Works every fucking time. And this is the one where I hope, because Congress, that's the House and the Senate, do not want this military action against Greenland. Because you will not, I don't think you're old enough, Supertram, to remember the attacks on September the 11th. I don't think you were born then. I do. I was working as a forklift truck driver at a trailer factory at the time. And my supervisor got one of these pager things on. And I'd gone to have a piss. And I was in the toilets block, having a piss at the urinal. And somebody walks in, planes have flown into the World Trade Center. I turn around, look, I go, fuck off. Just fuck off. Yeah. He goes, yeah, it just fell down. I go, fuck off as it fell down. Of course. I walks out. Goes back to my job. Supervisor goes, second plane's going to the World Trade Center. I'm like, Derek, You're taking the fucking piss. Just go fuck off. Just fuck yourself. And then he goes home and turns on CNN. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Oh dear. And the first thing that I saw was the tower with the antenna on. And the antenna just wobbles, then drops. I was like, oh fuck. President George W. Bush was in power at the time, and he invoked the NATO Treaty, Article 5. Denmark came to the aid. Greenland came to the aid. Yeah, France, Holland, Norway. And the current Senate and Congress have not forgotten that fact. That to go into Greenland would be basically taking a great big shit and dumping it on our allies. They don't want to do that. The US military, a lot of those generals have been in power since that, and they remember the help that NATO gave. And I'm unsure as to whether these generals would actually do it. Oh, fuck off. Bollocks. Now, Putin's military ain't not that good. It has seen better days. Yeah. But I do not think that they will attack Europe. Don't think they'll do it. Certainly not in the conventional sense of warplanes and missiles coming to Europe. Because even with NATO disbands tomorrow, the European Union, of which 27 members of the European Union are NATO members, the European Union will invoke Treaty Article 42.7. An attack on one member state of the European Union is to be considered an attack on all member states of the European Union. The UK has got a defence treaty with Finland, so that'll bring in us. Canada shares our monarch. They have King Charles III as their head of state. So that brings in the Canadians, who've also got a defence treaty with Japan, I think, and also share a monarch with Australia and New Zealand. As a result, there will be a big military response against the Russians. The European military was designed for a threat to come steamrolling across from Eastern Europe. That's exactly what our military is designed for. So, Putin won't do that. They're more likely to try our hybrid warfare, attacking infrastructure by using little green men, terrorist type means. But they can also then, because America is literally less than 20 miles away from Russia. The international date line runs between Russia and America. So he is more likely to go against a relatively undefended target. And all they've probably got at this point is cruise missiles and drones. Alaska is relatively undefended. They could go over and get themselves, soften up Alaska with drones, cruise missiles and the ballistic missiles, which obviously they've got plenty from, thanks to Iran. And they could get in and get themselves dug in. That is what, and that could make them very, very difficult to unseat. He will then go, Mr. Orange will go, he will want Canada to come to his aid. He wants Great Britain to come to his aid. And the chances are, we'll sit back and go, no. After what you did to us over Greenland, and you want help? Are you out of your fucking mind? Nope. We're not doing it. You, Donald, have shit your bed. You have thrown away all of your spare bedding. You have thrown away your washing machine. Yep, that's exactly what I'll do. Yep. And as a result, you've now got to lie in that shit-ridden bed. Enjoy. Yeah, and meanwhile, he will probably go over to China. At this point, he might turn to China for help. And China's like, nope. We've got a defence treaty with Canada. NATO are buying Canadian aircraft, are buying Chinese aircraft now, not American. And they are built to NATO specifications. Nope. I mean, the other way that, even if we find that we are overrun militarily, because American military spending is more than the next 10 nations combined. They spend too much on their military. And because of that, the way to harm America, and they can easily do this, would be for debt holders to put all their treasury bonds on the open market. The American dollar nosedives. The world's reserved currency is no longer the reserve currency. People will want to flush it out of their system. So it won't be this fabled diesel's $1.90 and gasoline's $1.98 a gallon. No, it'll be 198 a gallon on Monday. It'll be 298 a gallon on Tuesday. 398 on Wednesday, and so on and so on. Yeah, hyperinflation. Welcome to the Great Depression. Yet China, on the other hand, will profit. Yeah, he will be. But what gets me is that the Americans own, thanks to a treaty that they signed back in 1949, maybe 1950, with the founding members of NATO, America, Denmark, and thus Greenland. They signed the treaty because the entire population of Greenland, its entire population, will sit in the football stadium of Glasgow Rangers, of Manchester United. Its entire population will fit in the New Orleans Superdome. And there will be seats to spare. They have less than 60,000 people living there. So they signed a treaty, for defence with the Americans that allows them to place and build military bases. And they did build them military bases. But they closed those military bases because the threat from Russia fizzled away. I mean, with the changing climate and what have you, the Arctic sea lanes will become open for business. China will probably take advantage of that. Well, you won't do it militarily. They have not got a big power projection military. Russia had one based in Murmansk, Vladivostok and Leningrad, now St. Petersburg. But due to financial constraints, that military might is next to nothing. It's next to useless. It's tied down in a lot of places, so they can't really project power. They can sit in their basement, in their house, and in their garden, and lob rocks at people, but they can't really project power. So, but back then, they were able to do this. The Russian, the Red Banner Fleet, the Russian Navy, and the Russian Air Force were a force to be respected. Not necessarily feared, but respected. They were back then, back in the 1970s, quite a formidable fighting force. And thank you. And and when the Americans put on their 17 bases, they didn't lease them up, they owned them. So they still own them, just that they don't use them. So all they need to do is, if if Trump is afraid of the Russians coming in, just go Greenland. Can we open their bases? Can we put the bases back into action? Like, sure, you're the basis, you can do it. Yeah. Job done. What about the rare earth minerals that are down there? You know, can American companies have mining rights? Here, let's negotiate a treaty to want the Americans to give the mining rights how they want to pay. Backroom deals get done. America gets the mining rights for the minerals. The only trouble is with the minerals, they're in areas of the world, of Greenland, where there are no roads. They're under a mile of ice before you even get to the rock. So, right now, as it stands, they are worth more left in the ground. Until they get choked off by supply constraints and geopolitical restraints, at which point it might then become viable to mine them. And because of pre-arranged treaties, American companies will have the mining rights. That's the Greenland issue solved. But instead, he's kicking up a tizzy fit and the likes because he doesn't know how to do it. Because his brain is befuddled because of dementia. Yeah. He needs to learn to work with people. And J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, I think, are towing the... They're saying what they're saying because I think they're towing the party line. Just to placate him. When he finally gets to a point where he is no longer fit to govern the country because he's had a big stroke and just sitting there in the chair gurgling and gargling and blah, or he's no longer with us physically. Yeah, he has dementia. But the thing is though, he's got the angry dementia. And not only that, Super Tramp. Yeah, with the constant reinforcement of message, he does kind of remember things. He forgets other things because it's in his mind. It's deep, buried deep in his mind. He kind of remembers it. But and here's the big one. With him being a former real estate mogul, because that's kind of what he does, he builds buildings and the likes. When you have dementia, you kind of regress. This happened to my granddad, this happened to my uncle, might happen to me. Yeah, he should. Yeah, and the thing is, he's now regressing back to his 20s. You see all these Truth Social posts that he might make on the news and stuff? Yeah, like massive posts. I don't think he's writing them. I think that's either Stephen Miller or an AI bot. I might be wrong. But what is going on? I think the way that this Greenland will fizzle out. I think it will fizzle out. And that will be because people who know what they're doing will probably be doing a lot of work in the background. Which is kind of how the Cuban Missile Crisis was solved. Where Russia shipped nuclear missiles to Cuba and put them in striking range of Florida. That kind of pissed off Kennedy. And it was solved through diplomacy, not through force. And I think that's how this will play out. But will people trust the Americans again after this? Not really. I mean, already people are starting to turn, governments and the likes, are starting to turn to China. Which is even more infuriating to Donald. Because he wants to be the centre of attention. America must be the centre of attention. Which I think is part of the reason why he's doing what he's doing. So, while all this is going on, the sensible countries do a lot of backroom deals. That's why Mark Carney went to visit Xi Jinping and signed that trade deal. Oh, fuck off. Not again. Now, the 25th Amendment, if it gets a vote, the President has to agree to it. In some ways. If, however, he is completely incapacitated, I think it's slightly different. But I have seen on various sites, I've done so on Facebook, so I can't really vouch for its truthfulness, is that it may be getting to the point where members of the Republican Party grow some testicles and impeach. The thing is, if they impeach for treason, because you can be impeached for bribery, high crimes, and treason, high crimes, and misdemeanors. That's why they nearly had Bill Clinton for what he was doing under a desk with Monica Lewinsky. Yeah. If they decide to take up treason, that also brings down J.D. Vance and the Speaker, Mike Johnson. So I don't think that's actually ever happened before. But what is more likely to happen? Because he's also talking about trying to cancel the midterms. there will be a, I think, probably before the midterms, there will be a big rebellion in the States, especially when it tries to overturn the Constitution. And all these lovely ICE agents who Stephen Miller's told you have absolute immunity. Well, what right has he got to tell? You know, who has and who has not got immunity? They'll be held to account. But it's getting to the point where the International Olympic Committee should consider cancelling this year's games. They've cancelled Olympic Games before. They did it in 2020 for the Winter Games. What is 2020 that they did? I think they cancelled to get some games because of COVID. The World Cup, FIFA should cancel that. Because right now, as it stands right now, it's not safe to visit the United States. Not safe at all. You know, whether you're a white American, a white tourist, a Native American. Yeah, ICE have rounded up Native Americans. And, you can't find them. You know, they shot a woman. You know, they were giving Renee Good one person was saying, drive away. Another agent was saying, get out the car. What did you do? She was complying with one officer, but defying another officer in the same fucking squad. Yeah. And now this guy, who's pulled the trigger, is in hiding. I wonder why. And as things are going on, I can see that China will take over the world without firing a single shot. You know, nations in Africa, nations in South America, large Western nations are signing deals with the Chinese. Xi Jinping is not the same kind of imperialist that the UK government was back in the day. He wants to take over the world, but he wants to do it in a way that people respect China. And that's exactly how they're doing it. Yeah. The Japanese will also be doing this very, very similar thing as well. But China's got the influence. I mean, taking, for example, if you own a mobile phone, have a look what it says on the back. Probably says somewhere, made in China. Most of the world's electronics are made in China. Consumer goods, made in China. Clothing, made in China. Yeah, globalism works. Yeah, most of my model railway stuff is made by a company called Bachmann. They're a Chinese company. You got a Chinese-owned company. Bachmann Europe's head office is in Hinckley, about an hour from where I live, just down the A5. And Chinese products, when they first came over, people laughed and joked about them. I mean, a mate of mine, he's got a Chinese motorcycle, a 125cc. It's built to a very high standard. It's actually built better than his bloody Triumph Speed Triple. You know, BYD EVs, build your dreams, I think was the caption that they used. Yeah. It used to be, oh, fuck off! It used to be that if you wanted an EV, it was either going to be a Nissan Leaf, a Renault Zoe, a Twizy, or a Tesla. Now I see more BYDs than Teslas. Yeah. Am I afraid of China coming along and taking over our trade? Not really. Because even though they make a lot of stuff, they need to buy a lot of stuff as well to make that stuff with. Welcome to California. Now, if I recall, I think there's fuel up here. I think there's fuel down here somewhere. No, that's moved. That's changed. Ah, the fuel is there. The fuel is there. So we've got our agricultural inspections to do now. Let's put some music on, shall we? Actually, I've just realised I'm a album missing. I'll just put that on as well, actually. Music, live streams, music. Control C. Back out of here, into here. Music. Control V. There we go. Right. Let's yeah, all your iPhones and stuff again, Chinese. Well, one of the things is, I believe that the American president is frightened of this, but he doesn't know what to do. And because he's got such an ego, he only wants people who will stroke his ego. Tell him what he wants to know. Not what he needs to. The two are different. And therefore, because he's got the wrong advisors in place, he's making the wrong decisions. Or he's firing the advisors because they've told him something he doesn't like. Yeah, like you can't have Greenland. So he fires them. And when you've got somebody like that running the country, how do you tell him that he's wrong? How do you tell him? Because imagine, picture the scene. You know a subject off by heart. It's your expertise. You've got 20 or 30 years experience in this field. And you've been called by the president to advise him on this. And something crops up. And you know that what he wants to do isn't going to work. But you've seen it before where people have told him that the same sort of thing, like, no, Mr. President, what you want to do will not work at all. It's impossible. It can't be done. And you've seen that person get fired. He's tried it anyway, and it's failed. So he's brought you in. How do you tell him, Mr. President, that isn't going to work? What you're asking can't be done. How do you tell him that? Because that's the problem that exists right now. Because nobody has ever told him no. Oh, Manchester. Yay. If you wonder where I'm going, Superdrum, I'm not actually going the wrong way. I'm actually going to a fuel station. I think there's fuel up here. There we go. But sooner or later, somebody will have to do that. Because they say that for the first year, you can get away with blaming failing policy, failing things on the previous administration. That year has now passed. So right now, we can't blame things on Joe. Well, he can't now blame things on Joe Biden. Well, that's a dead end. So it's got to the point where now he needs to start to take responsibility for his own actions. Will he do that? Not really. Not likely. Way. I mean, he's threatened to withhold funds from states that tell him, you know, what you're doing is wrong. He's tried launching investigations against people, politically motivated, and the courts have struck them down. Hey, no, you can't do that. That's why he's had so many bloody losses in court, which has also made him even more angry. The point is, can we actually see Mount Shasta from up here? Yeah, there's Mount Shasta over there. Yeah, I mean, he's running the country into the ground, and people seem powerless to stop him. Are they frightened of him? That is a possibility. But again, I honestly think that sooner or later, it'll probably be this year. He will either go to bed and not wake up, which is what happened to my mother, or, because you've seen his ankles, yeah, how swollen his ankles are. Now, my granddad had this problem, and so did my nan. And he will get up, and at that point his life is over, because the deep vein thrombosis will break free, travel around his blood system to either gets to his brain or gets to his heart. At that point, all bets are off. Bang! That's what happened to my grandfather on Valentine's Day a few years ago. He gets up to go to the bathroom, and the blood clot travelled round, got to his heart, and basically at that point he was dead before he hit the floor. No niceties. Thud! I think that's how we'll go. Whether it'll be on Air Force One, at Mar-a-Lago, or a golf course, that's anybody's guess. But I think more than likely it'll probably be on Air Force One, where he's travelling around. Because when you are flying, the reduced pressure reduces the external pressure on the blood, on your venous system. So the blood is under less external pressure, so things can move. That's why deep vein thrombosis is a big problem for frequent air travellers and the like. That's why pilots are limited on the amount of hours they do. I mean, you see him like me falling asleep in meetings, and he tries to spin it, or you caught him blinking. Who blinks with their head tilted back, their gob wide open and their eyes closed? I don't. You don't. But that's how they'll probably try to spin it. I mean, why is he going for all these MRI scans? They're watching something. They know there's something wrong inside him, and they're watching. Yeah. Oh, fuck off! Fuck you, Cal DOT! Oh, but okay, we just got there. Let's see for a second. Is there another waypad on here? No. So how can this DOT weigh the entire truck by only putting the scales under the front axle? Answers on a postcard, please. Yeah, so going back to Greenland, and NATO, I can see the America being suspended from the NATO alliance. Now, Vladimir Putin is no fan of NATO. He hates NATO. He does not want the NATO alliance on his doorstep. But NATO without the United States is still going to be NATO. And who will they get their equipment from? They'll probably more homegrown equipment. I mean, already Canada has ditched its F-35 in favour of the Saab Gripen. They might even start buying Chinese fighter jets. And if they do decide to invade Greenland, Denmark has actually stated this, and it is their standing orders. They will shoot first and ask questions later. I mean, it could even end up being a case of a full trade embargo to the United States. Travel bans, but I don't think it will actually go that far. I don't think it will go... Oh. Oh. What happened then? Oh dear. I was enjoying that nice little drive. All of a sudden, boom, it stopped. Yeah, I don't think it will come to a full armed conflict between America and the NATO allies. But whatever will happen will have diplomatic repercussions. And it will start with, most likely, Denmark kicking out diplomats. It will then also be, to Greenland, kicking out diplomats. Then France, Italy, Spain, and the like, doing likewise. Isolating him on the diplomatic stage, which will really wind him up because he likes to be loved. He likes to be the centre of attention because his so ego is so fragile. Why? Okay. And I think that will be more of a potent reaction than a full-on military conflict. We shall see. Because his generals have already said that they're not down with this. I wonder if this will took me back to here. For fuck's sake. And what will that do to the to Europe? Because computers use Linux and use Windows, both of which are American made operating systems. So that could have a bit of blowback, yeah, to to Europe if they decide to go with a full block embargo of American goods. Well, I didn't know you come up with a crash warning when the game shut down, so... We shall see. Because we are going down all the way down to Los Angeles. Anyway, we'll go pull into this rest area because we're going to stop for a quick drink. Right, I'm going to go downstairs now and have myself a drink. Oh, look at that, an old 579. So, break time now. Back in 5 minutes. I'll leave the music on and I'll see what our little raver girl's doing.
Lost in the night, no one to blame. Chasing a fire, not seeking fame. Who can judge you? You're all the sky.
Has she moved? Oh, she's moving.
Who can stop you? You were
Right. I've got my cup of coffee. The engine's up and running again. She really should be wearing her seatbelt. There's a microphone for CB, but there's no actual CB in there. And what's that flip to? I wonder what that flip out kind of panel's for. Right, we have now got 10 hours worth of driving remaining, which will actually take us down to LA. So we'll build up speed. Ignorant twat. Oh, there's the Amtrak there. I mean, in other news as well, Ukraine. They've also struck a deal, it seems, with the UK for building a new missile, which will give them deep strike capability into Russia. Yeah, it is literally is the David and Goliath fight right now over there. And 3 years ago, nearly 4 years ago, when Moscow launched the special military operation with the aim of getting into Kyiv in under 4 days, they still haven't got to Kyiv. It would appear that Ukraine has become very, very strong. And they're also going to be buying, I think, lots of European weaponry. And it's getting to the point where the fight is unsustainable for Russia. But it's got to the point where Russia's in so deep, they can't simply give up and pull out. They're in a fucked if we do, fucked if we don't situation. So it's going to be quite interesting on how that missile behaves. I mean, the press in the UK are getting all very sensationalist about World War III conscription. I don't think it's going to come to that. Putin is evil. Yes. But he's not stupid. He's a very intelligent, he's a very smart, very intelligent man. And he knows the position of his country's military. So I don't think he'll do it. And if he tried it, I think there will probably be a revolt in Russia. Which, if that happens, I don't think the Russian government will be able to deal with it. He needs to sort his domestic issues out, and I think he knows this. After all, if his military was so good, why is he getting troops in from North Korea? Answer: because he hasn't got any of his own. So certainly within the next 5 years, I don't think there's going to be conflict with Russia. Maybe after 5 years, possibly, who knows? But the kicker, I think, will be China. I think China will keep Putin in check. Yeah, so that's probably what we'll need to watch. By all means, yeah, certainly do not let your guard down. But could America be, all the internal strife in America, is that getting stirred up by Russia to weaken America? It's not beyond the realms of possibility. Don't think it is. But I don't think it's beyond... Yeah, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but I don't think that's the case right now. So something I'd expect from Russia. Yeah. If you can't crush the enemy from the outside, you devour it from the inside and cause it to collapse in on itself by hollowing it out. It is something to consider, but I don't think it's completely likely that that is the case. He will just probably profit from the spoils. And any trade embargo that gets put on the United States, unlike Russia, where Vladimir's got pretty much absolute control because he's so bloody ruthless. You know, people who've said, Vladimir, this is not working, have met up with very spicy drinks on tall balconies. America's politics works, from what I can tell, from what I've seen, slightly differently. The people with the real control are the businesses. Boeing, Colt Armories, Packard, Mack, Volvo, Renault and the likes. Where if they find that they cannot sell their products, they could make life very, very difficult for the president. And chances are, they probably would. I think I might actually alter my mirrors actually. 4. No, hang on, no, wrong. 2, sorry. Just mirrors. 2. Ah. Doesn't angle very well, that. That's better. And because obviously these corporations, if they cannot sell their product, they'll probably bring the government down. And that will be messy. And they'll bring it down through... I don't think they'll bring it down using the Second Amendment. No. That's just way out there. They'll probably be doing it by getting the local representative, slipping him a few greenbacks. Do us a favour, Tim. Just impeachment, please. And this will go on both in the lower and the upper house. Next thing you know, somebody filed articles of impeachment. And all of a sudden it miraculously gains traction. And the president is therefore impeached. So the vice president is then sworn in. Remember, Mr. President, what happened to your predecessor? Get us into a situation where we can trade again. Otherwise, the same thing will happen to you. Backroom deals and the likes, and the UN and this, that, and the other will probably then take place. America will probably withdraw from Greenland. And slowly but surely, stability comes. America is now weaker on the world stage. It's lost a lot of respect. But it will then be able to start to rebuild itself. The damage will be done. And it will take generations, probably 2 or 3 generations to clear. It won't happen overnight. And maybe, and here's the big paradox. Having seen what has happened in this premiership, with President 47, President the 48th, 49th and 50th will have to really work hard. But paradoxically, this could be the best thing that's happened to America, because it'll bring Americans closer together politically, get more engaged politically, so that what's happening now doesn't happen again. Maybe that's a pie in the sky thought, but who knows? Yeah, time will tell. But I don't think the way that he's going on, I don't think he's going to get impeached. I think he'll be out before then. If you watch him on speeches, he's slow, he's low energy, he's lethargic, he's slurring. He's not in a good state. Like I said earlier, I think his health will catch him first. Which, unfortunately, when he goes, whatever's in those bloody files will go with him. But after he is gone, there will be changes made in the government over there. I think the right to presidential pardon, I think that will be curtailed. To stop the clemency system being abused on such a scale. I mean, he has pardoned now nearly 2,500 people, I think. Every one of the Jan 6 has been pardoned, and loads of others. And yeah, you can buy presidential pardons off this guy. That's what's been reported. So that'll get curtailed. I mean, Fire and Balance did one about, the pardoning in the United States. It's become a bit of an industry. So that'll get changed. Maybe it'll be a case of get completely nixed. So no more presidential pardons. Or it may be a case of you can at the end of each year within your term of office, you can pardon one person only. I think that's probably what will happen on that respect. But time will tell. She's come down quite nice, actually. 3.5 hours of game time remaining. I'll just take off my... There we go. There we go. But yeah, just looking down at my feed on my monitor. Again, this is YouTube, so it's probably a little bit of sensationalism. Probably not entirely truthful, but on Fastipo, FAST, that's Foxtrot Alpha Sierra Tango Echo Papa Oscar. EU vows to dump Trump's deal. He just made a trade deal with the EU back in July, and because obviously over Greenland he's basically shitting on Europe, we just go, that deal's worthless. Because it appears to be that on the President of the United States, contracts are merely words on paper. They have no meaning. Which is probably why he's getting sued so many times. Because he's a bad faith actor. He's not holding up his obligations. People are having to sue him to hold him to their part, to his part of the bargain. Oh dear. I think we're about just less than 3 hours away from Los Angeles now. Actually, I should have gone down there, but never mind. That was a hidden road. So right now, I think for the next, certainly next week or 2 weeks or so, we are currently on a very much a knife edge situation. I really hope that somebody sees sense. And prevents somebody from doing something that is weapons grade stupid. And the next president will also then have to deal with the Supreme Court to ensure that absolute presidential immunity is removed. Reagan didn't have it. Clinton didn't have it. George Bush the first didn't have it. George Bush the second hasn't had it. Obama hasn't had it. Biden didn't have it. And everybody before Reagan didn't have it. So why does Trump need it? Now that needs to get nixed. Let's hope it is. Oh well. Hey, Los Angeles! Hey, hey! Hang on. Yeah, I do need to go a bit. Dive. Come on. And here we are. Welcome to Enterprise in Los Angeles. Let's see where they want it. I want it on a base, so. I'm totally fucking that up. However, I can use that and turn it into a positive. Rather than try to do it blindside, turn it into a 3-point turn. And now I can see the other side of my trailer. Nearly. I'm going to get this one in here. 3, 2, 1. Bingo! Into neutral. Wind the window up. Engine off. Stereo off. Let's deliver the job. 1,306 miles. Woohoo! Right there. I will see you all next week. Time to log off and say goodbye to everybody on the stream. So, bye for now and see you all next Saturday. Bye bye.